While premium laptops have gotten more expensive over time, cheap and budget options have improved significantly in quality. However, with all the new budget laptops launching in 2024, it can be hard to find the one that's best for your needs. Do you need an all-powerful gaming laptop, or good for working and long battery life? That's why I'm here today to help you. All you have to do is watch the video until the end to find out which laptop is right for you. Let's get started. Number 8 today, Acer Aspire Go 14, the best super cheap budget laptop. For just $300, Acer's entry-level Aspire Go 14 holds its own against other budget models that cost twice as much or even more. The design cannot be described as enticing or exciting, but it's functional. It's a simple, generic silver slate that lacks anything to distinguish it from competitors or previous Acer laptops. Acer Go come with 14 inches display and tips the scales a hair less than many mid-range 14-inch laptops. It doesn't feel especially svelte in hand, perhaps due to its boxy angular design. But it's small enough to fit in most bags designed for a 13-inch laptop and light enough for convenient everyday carry to and from an office. Performance from the quad-core, AMD Ryzen 3 series CPU and 8GB of RAM suffices for basic use. And also battery life is surprisingly long. The 14-inch OLED display features a sufficiently bright, but it suffers from poor viewing angles that might take some getting used to before you settle on the right angle to position the display. Another drawback is the tight storage of the laptop's meager 128GB. Neither drawback is a deal breaker when you consider the bargain basement price. The Aspire Go 14 provides great value with its acceptable build quality, capable performance, and long battery life. To number 7, Lenovo IdeaPad Slim 3i, the best cheap Chromebook laptop. It's a great option for younger students or anyone needing a simple device for web browsing and video playback. I recommend the Core i3 model paired with an Full HD touch-sensitive display and 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, which you can regularly find on sale for $400 to $500 on Lenovo's website. The display of the Core i3 model mentioned above is bright enough for use in well-lit settings and is reasonably color accurate. The keyboard feels spacious but a tad mushy, and unfortunately, the touchpad is small and not always responsive. The Lenovo 3i Chromebook is good for school use. It's easy to carry around, and its battery lasts over 13 hours of light use. It has a sharp, bright display, a spacious but slightly mushy keyboard, and an excellent HD webcam. For that, it's good for Microsoft Teams and Google Meet apps. Its Intel CPU has no problem handling nearly anything you can do on a Chromebook, but don't expect to do anything remotely intensive. Also, this laptop isn't ideal for students requiring specialized software like Adobe Photoshop and video editing. If you're unfamiliar with Chrome OS, know that this operating system is limited in the type of applications you can install, so you must ensure you can do everything through a Chrome browser or Android app. And number 6, Acer Swift 3, best budget laptop for battery life. The Acer Swift 3, a 14-inch Windows laptop that lasts 14 hours on a full charge. Acer Swift laptops are typically more expensive, but since this is a model from 2020, you can get it at a much lower price, making it a great value. Its Intel 11th Gen CPU is also a few years old, but still more than adequate for general productivity. It has a great port selection that includes 2 USB-A and 1 USB-C, and also an HDMI and a headphone jack. You also get a fingerprint sensor for quick logins. The display looks sharp and gives you just enough room for split-screen multitasking. However, it doesn't get very bright, so glare may be an issue in well-lit rooms. Unfortunately, the webcam's video quality is bad, the image looks underexposed, and the microphone sounds staticky. The Acer Swift 3 is decent for business use. It's a thin and light laptop that's easy to carry around, with a battery that lasts through a typical 13-hour workday with plenty of charge to spare. Its great port selection includes a full-size HDMI and a USB-C port with Thunderbolt 4 support, so that you can connect to an external display for presentations. Its Intel Core i5 CPU can handle general productivity tasks like text formatting and Excel spreadsheets, and it doesn't throttle much under load. Unfortunately, the keyboard feels tiring to type on for extended periods, and the webcam's video and audio quality are bad. But the laptop, it's still good overall with long battery life at this price point. To number 5, Apple MacBook Air M1, the best budget MacBook. For many years, this Apple laptop was everyone's favorite laptop. It was reasonably priced, thin, light, and built like a tank. It could last for years and take lots of falls and bumps. You get only 2 USB-C ports, but for most people that's enough, as long as you can get a whatever to USB-C dongle. It's a great pick for students looking for a speedy and stylish do-it-all laptop. The MacBook Air's performance, powered by the M1 processor and 16GB of RAM and 1TB of storage, is phenomenal. When I split its screen between 20 Chrome tabs and a HD YouTube video in the background, I never saw anything from lag. Even though the Air M1 has the same design of late 2010s MacBooks, it's still an elegant machine. Not only that, but its sturdy machined aluminum chassis available in gold or silver makes it feel like a premium product. At 2.8 pounds and 13.3 inches, the MacBook Air M1 lives up to its Air moniker by being both thin and light. So the older M1 Air won't break your spine if you're carrying it in your backpack. Given the MacBook Air M1's eye-pleasing design, it's doubtful you'll get odd stares in public for using an older laptop. In fact, many others are probably using that same notebook. The wedge-shaped design might be a little dated, but some might prefer it to the boxier look of recent MacBooks. Even if its successors have an updated modern aesthetic, the Air M1 is still a great-looking device. I should also note that the Air M1 also runs whisper quiet, since it has no internal fans. Don't let that worry you, however, since you have to go out of your way to get this machine to start heating up. For regular work or streaming, the laptop will remain cool. Apple declared its M1 chip would enable all-day battery life, and the company has hit that mark. On the battery test for web browsing at 150 nits display, the new MacBook Air lasted an epic 13 hours and 41 minutes. To number 4, Asus TUF Gaming A16. Best budget gaming laptop. I recommend the Asus A16 Advantage Edition, a 16-inch model for gaming within a budget price range. For around $1,000, you can get this laptop with a Ryzen 7 CPU and Radeon RX 7600S for graphics, and also 165Hz Full HD display with 16GB of RAM and 512GB of storage. This configuration delivers a smooth gaming experience at HD or Full HD resolution. Its display also boasts an impressive response time for clear image quality with minimal ghosting, and it supports variable refresh rate to limit screen tearing. You don't have to worry when playing because this laptop, no noticeable thermal throttling under load. For connectivity, you get Wi-Fi 6 and an Ethernet port. The rest of the port selection is also great, with plenty of USB-A and USB-C ports and a true HDMI 2.1 port. The 512GB storage in this configuration will probably fill up quickly with the size of recent titles, though you can get a 1TB of storage if you're willing to pay more. As for the battery life, you can expect a little over in 3 hours when gaming and over in 12 hours when web browsing, which is fairly typical. And number 3, Microsoft Surface Go 3. Best budget 2-in-1 tablet. If you like the 2-in-1 tablet form factor, get the Microsoft Surface Go 3 now. With 10.5 inches, this tablet PC is incredibly compact, making it easy to carry. It has a sharp display with stylus support and an excellent HD webcam that puts pricier laptops to shame, and a Windows Hello facial recognition camera for quick logins. You can use it without the keyboard attached to save space and pop it back on when you need to type something out. The keyboard is surprisingly comfortable to type on. The downside is that you have to buy it separately, and the same goes for the stylus. The Surface Go 3 is decent for school use. It's a very portable device as it's compact and lightweight, and its battery lasts a little over 7 hours of light productivity. So depending on your school schedule, you might be able to get through the day on a full charge. The display is sharp and colorful, but it doesn't provide much screen real estate for multitasking. The keyboard is comfortable to type on though, and the touchpad tracks well. Its Intel CPU and integrated graphics can handle simple tasks like web browsing and text formatting, but they aren't ideal for demanding workloads like graphic design or 3D animation. You can get this tablet with an Intel Pentium Gold or Core i3 CPU. Both are fine for simple tasks like web browsing, emails, and video playback, but don't expect to do anything remotely intensive. Recommend getting a model with 8GB of memory, as you'll get a much smoother experience with fewer slowdowns when multitasking. Unfortunately, you only get one USB-C, a proprietary charging port, and a headphone jack. Number 2. Lenovo LOQ 15. Best cheap gaming laptop. The Lenovo LOQ is an excellent gaming laptop. Its AMD Ryzen CPU and NVIDIA graphics can push high frame rates, delivering a smooth gaming experience at full HD games. There are multiple display options, including a 144Hz Full HD display or 165Hz Quad HD panel. Both support variable refresh rate to reduce screen tearing. There's no thermal throttling, so you won't experience any performance loss when gaming for an extended period. RAM and storage are user replaceable if you want to upgrade later on. The battery lasts than an hour when gaming, though it charges quickly. You can get it with an AMD Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 7 CPU and an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4050 or RTX 4060 for graphics. Both options deliver high and consistent frame rates for HD gaming. For the best full HD games experience, I suggest the higher-end RTX 4060 GPU, as it has 8GB of RAM, which helps to minimize pop-in and stuttering in demanding titles. Also recommend a configuration with 16GB of RAM. And if you're comfortable doing so, you can upgrade it on your own. For storage, you can option for either 512GB or 1TB options. There's also an extra M2 slot if you want to add more space. Connectivity-wise, if you play online games, there's Wi-Fi 6 connectivity and an Ethernet port to ensure the best connection possible for competitive play. And finally, number 1, Acer Aspire 5. Best budget laptop overall? The Acer Aspire 5 continues to be one of the best Windows laptop deals around. Available from 14 to 17.3-inch sizes, I am partial to the 15.6-inch size because it's relatively compact and lightweight. Acer has a wide range of configurations to choose from, starting at less than $400. This budget laptop also features a USB-C Thunderbolt 4 port, 2 USB-A ports, Ethernet, and an HDMI port. The design is primarily about functionality, so the Aspire 5 isn't much of an eye-catcher. Its dark plastic exterior with a steel gray finish cannot be opened comfortably with one hand, while the rather large display bezels make the laptop look old-fashioned. It does offers one ergonomic advantage. Open the screen further, shifts the keyboard up slightly, making for a more comfortable typing position. The 15.6-inch display of the Aspire 5 has a full HD resolution. That gives it a classic widescreen ratio. A matte rather than glossy coating on the display helps reduce the interference of reflections, but it's not perfect. A max brightness of just under 250 nits still makes it difficult to see in direct sunlight. However, the screen's major weakness is its poor color reproduction, both in its coverage of the relevant color spaces and in color fidelity. This is insignificant for most office work, but it's no good for graphical work or video editing. Acer relies on Intel Core i7 as the processor and 16GB of RAM. In everyday use, no lags. This is only noticeable when you use the Aspire 5 for tasks such as graphic design or photo and video editing. And even then, the performance drop-off isn't as dramatic, usually only around 10 to 30%. For all other tasks, with the exception of complex games, the device is barely slower and so works well. In office applications, for example, the laptop really benefits from its fast 1TB storage. So we got to know some information about the best 8 budget laptops to buy in this year until now. The official information in the video description. I'm done here. Thanks for watching, my friend. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to Top 8 Tech channel for our support. Goodbye.